Welcome to Woman Who Chat, and today I'm here with Michelle Leivars of the Soap Sponge Company. Now, hello, Michelle.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
That's okay. And let's talk about the change first, because new company name. You've gone online. Just talk us through that a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's been a year of change, that's for sure. I decided to rebrand from Breeding Perfumery back in, I think it was January now, actually. Just purely for lots of different reasons. The shop wasn't doing as well as before. I had to think of new ways to obviously gain more income, to really push the brand. And I thought, I need an injection of colour. I need a new, almost like a facelift, but for the business. Because I think it's hard, isn't it? Because because you work so much in your business, you struggle to kind of see what it needs on the outside. Decided a new name. And I think for my own mental health, because it had been such a hard few years with COVID and everything, I think I just needed something to maybe draw a line under things and be like, right, okay, 2022, let's kind of go for it. So that's where that came from.
Yeah, and you sort of, the whole thing, you've rebranded, you've relocated, it is like a complete, almost drawing a line in the sand and saying, right, I'm starting afresh here. I mean, the soap sponges are amazing. They are. They're something unique, and you do feel, I remember you saying to me, and, listen back to one of the previous podcasts, but I remember you saying to me that, you started this business because at the time you felt that soap and that it made you feel good, and it was about emotion. And, that when you use the soap sponges, and they are unique, it just makes you feel special, as if you're almost pampering yourself. And
that makes me so happy.
Yeah, but you don't want to. I mean, I've got one of your bath bombs, and it's almost as if I'm saving it for something special. Don't ask me what it is.
You are special.
But it's almost as if it's a treat. It's like, and I think, with the products you produce, that is it. But it's almost as if you feel like, well, actually, I could give myself a treat every day.
Absolutely. And that's how I want people to feel, because I know from personal experience how much that lifts you. And that's obviously, the main purpose of the brand and where it started, and the brand story. Yeah. But yeah, you said that we'd relocated. So like I've closed my high street shop. I mean, all that is finished. The stress of that, thankfully, has just about ceased. Because obviously it was really expensive. It's thousands out a month. I've just decided to focus solely online. Moved the whole family to the Kent coast. We're literally on the street by the sea. It just feels like, I don't know, the right thing to do.
Yeah, and we always put these things off. When I retire, I'll do this, and in 5 years' time, I'll do that. And years ago, I kicked my bucket list into touch, and I thought, why put things on a bucket list for the future when actually, make them a priority now? And I wrote a bucket list. I think I've kept it 2009, and I've actually achieved everything on there. I've done everything on there. And I think, and I don't write them anymore. I just say, right, what am I going to do this year? And I have a vision board. And this is what I'm going to do this year. And I make sure I not tick them off and say it's a tick box, but I don't want to wait until I may not have my health to do these things. So, people say, oh, I'm going to move nearer the sea, but it's a far distant. And I know a couple of women in business that have just done it now. Why not?
And I think sometimes it feels unreachable because it has been a dream, or it has been something that you've always wanted to do. I mean, for me personally, I had loads of things happen this year that really made me think to myself, do you know what? I don't know what's going to happen with my life. I've had lots of health issues. I've had cancer scares. I've got now a neurological condition. Is everything was compounding and making me frightened. And I was thinking to myself, I want to provide the best of everything for the kids now if I can. And I think that was a real deciding factor.
And retail has been knocked severely. I mean, the challenges in retail right now are huge. And I don't know, we've had setback after setback after setback, Brexit, we've had the pandemic, and now this cost of living crisis. And
Mhm.
how are you sort of, because I don't think your products are expensive. I don't think they are a luxury item, although I feel luxurious. I
Yeah.
don't think they are a luxury item. But how will you convince your customers that actually, they're more a necessity of their everyday shop rather than
Yeah.
just a luxury? How are you going to address that?
I think it's really difficult actually, Sandra, to be honest with you, because I'm very much of the situation where I'm I'm mindful, because I've been in the situation where I've had to visit food banks and I've not had money for these luxury things. So I would never, even though it's a business, I would never force that opinion on anybody. So what I tend to do is kind of promote the self-care aspect of it. And or maybe if you're buying a gift for a friend, because you'd much rather, I don't know about you, but I'm sure you're the same, you'd much rather spend that money on a gift for a friend to make them happy. It's almost like we feel guilty to do it for ourselves. But yeah, it's a hard, like, moral dilemma. And I
Mm.
think because the business is so deep rooted in the passion that I have for it, it makes it really difficult to separate.
Yeah, and it's and it is sometimes we don't have a lot of money to play with,
Mhm.
and people may be feeling the pinch, especially with Christmas looming,
Yeah,
anniversaries, weddings, all those occasions in people's diaries where they think, oh gosh,
yeah,
but it is important to embrace that self-care,
yeah.
because sometimes you might not be able to afford and go and have a spa day or go out and do something expensive,
Mhm.
but you can have your own mini pamper session, and
Yeah.
just doing something for yourself occasionally. And as I say, the soap sponge, whenever I use it, I just feel as if I'm giving myself that ultimate treat.
Oh, I love that. It makes me so happy.
And sometimes we need those little treats to keep going, don't we?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, the importance on our mental health really can't be underestimated. It's really, especially the past few years, it's been really difficult for everybody. And I think it's what's the main saying is self-care isn't selfish. And that's totally true, because unless you put yourself first, then you're going to be no good to anybody else that are relying on you to take care of them. So it's a double-edged sword.
So what's on the horizon then, Michelle? You've got the online shop set up. What's next? What are you working on there?
Well, to be honest, wholesale's going through the roof at the moment. So I'm being stocked in different places. I've managed to somehow, I don't know. I'm going to be having the products for a week in Waitrose next month. So that's exciting. And then I've got boots coming up in the new year too. Um, I'm just in talks. I've signed something, but not, I can't say too much, but it's with a television shopping channel that I was talking to you about. It's been months in the making, but hopefully, fingers crossed, that will come off as well. Yeah, it's just about getting more stockists, doing more wholesale, obviously still providing for the customers I already have on the retail side. But yeah, I'm designing collections for people. I'm making them products. So yeah, it's going in some really interesting directions.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. I love it when people start throwing out brand names, just like, oh yeah, Waitrose and Boots, and I look back, and I've been chatting to various women in business, and I look back and I say, if you talking to you years ago or when I first met you, it was all very contained, and you wouldn't have been branded around those big names, and you're just throwing them off like, but there's a lot of work gone into this, hasn't there? This isn't
Oh
just
God, yeah, years of work, and I think years of, what the most important thing for me is I have found so many amazing women like yourself in the woman who community. It wouldn't have been possible without you all, because you all, each individually, have all supported me. You have all given me advice. You have all made me feel like, I can achieve things. And I think we really underestimate the importance when you see a woman in business and they're achieving brilliant things. She's not done it by herself, she's done it because of the people around her, and that is absolute key to anyone's success.
And I think it's important to also to say that the hard work, you anyone that thinks they're going to go out there and start a business and the next day be in Waitrose or wherever, it's not going to happen like that. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. And, you know, it's to develop a brand, to develop a product. It takes time, it takes tenacity, it takes resilience, because you are going to get those knockbacks. You are going to have setbacks from time to time. And that support network around you is, and I say this to people, you know, in all my time of doing Woman Who, coming into my 8th year, I've never been in a situation where a woman has knocked another woman down. It's always been to lift her up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's what's really unique about the Woman Who community, because there is not one person in this community that I could say, oh, well, you know, it might be her, or because there's always one in other groups, isn't there? At least one. But in Woman Who, it's completely different. It's the first place that I've gone into and I've felt comfortable, safe, and supported.
Oh, it's lovely for you to say that. Thank you so much. So if I could, we've run out of time as usual. We will be talking to you again in a few months' time. But if you could leave our audience with something to keep them going, or because it is challenging right now, what would be your piece of advice?
I think I would probably say, be as kind to yourself as you would be to other people. Because that's something I've really struggled with lately. I've worried about letting people down. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves, and the thoughts that we have in our own heads about the way that we appear to other people really aren't true at all. So it's about being mindful and thinking to yourself, if I went to my friend with this issue, would she think the same?
That's great advice. So today I've been speaking with Michelle Leivars from the Soap Sponge Company. It's been fantastic to catch up with you, and we'll see you soon, Michelle. Take care.
Thank you, Sandra. Take care.